Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Pride Month. This is the Lunch and Learn, sponsored by Saint Louis Continuum of Care, finally known as CoC. We're choosing to host this event highlighting our efforts to create welcoming spaces and serving persons experiencing housing disparity and identifying as LGBTQ+. We are very appreciative of our panelists who have generously agreed to take part of this and to talk about their efforts and collaboration with the CoC. My name is Perez Maxwell. I am the Special Populations and Issues Chairman of the CoC, and we focus on identifying and addressing the needs and issues affecting specific subpopulations of individuals and families, including homelessness, youth, school-aged children, veteran members of the LGBT community, and survivors of domestic violence. It is particularly humbling and honoring for me to be a part of this committee, being a part of the LGBT+ community and so many of the marginalized subgroups. It's just important that our voices be heard. Joining us today are Molly Pearson from Promo and Christy Hammond from Youth in Need, who will explain how they're working to end these disparities. And so I am going to turn it over to Molly Pearson first, and she will explain to us how Promo is helping the community. Molly?
Hi, thank you so much, Perez, and thank you, Deb, also, and Christy. Nice to be connected with you too. So my name is Molly. I'm okay with any pronoun, and I work for Promo as the Special Programs Manager. At Promo, we do a lot of work across the state. We're involved in grassroots organizing, electoral politics, and community education around LGBTQ equity and equality. We also have programming for older adults and advocacy for older adults. LGBT folks, as they age, face really unique disparities compared to the population at large. So that's just high level what we do here at Promo. But specifically in partnership with the CoC, back in April, we delivered 2 trainings really zeroing in on housing and LGBTQ populations. We held one training in early April that was focused on youth, and then another training later on that same month focusing on adults. Because housing is a really particular need in the LGBTQ community, especially for youth. Of all youth who are unhoused, 40% are LGBTQ. And that's just a staggering number. And there are a lot of factors that go into that. It can be stemming from family rejection at home, and then compounded with rejection at school. And just minority stress. I mean, especially for trans folks in particular, we've seen a wave of legislation filed targeting transgender youth specifically. So all of these factors kind of swirl around an individual as they are coming of age and navigating the world, and that can have lifelong ramifications throughout the life course from cradle till birth. And with housing in particular, there are just really unique disparities that are all connected. So it's all related to employment instability and financial wellness. It's also related to health and health outcomes and health equity. And so we held 2 really wonderful 3-hour trainings and just really fielded a ton of excellent questions from the CoC community. And it was really, really great events, both of them. And it was just great to know that the St. Louis County Continuum of Care is taking this work seriously and is really empowering member organizations to do the right thing, especially in a state like Missouri, where it is legal to discriminate based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And so that means it's on us as organizations, as service providers, to do the right thing, to do more than the bare minimum that the law requires. And so at Promo, we're really invested in making sure that organizations have the tools that they need to do the right thing. So those 2 training sessions were great. I'm really excited to see how we might be able to continue to partner moving forward. But yeah, that's a summary of how we've been partnering so far.
Thank you, Molly. We really appreciate that information. I've seen stuff from Promo, great work that's being done, and it's has to continue. And thank you for guiding us through that. Next, we'll hear from Christy Hammond from Youth in Need.
Thanks for having me, Molly. It's hard to follow that up. So I am Christy. My pronouns are she, her. I work at Youth in Need in our runaway and homeless youth programs. And so under the big umbrella of youth programs here, we serve youth in many different ages and geography areas. Within our RHY, or our runaway and homeless youth programs, we have our emergency shelter, our transitional living group home, our supported apartments, our community housing, our street outreach and safe place programs, as well as coordinated entry. So there's a lot of programs within our RHY, and I am going to talk just a little bit about our emergency shelter and our transitional living program. So I think that a big thing that we do trying to really support youth that identify as LGBT is follow that housing first model. We've all talked about that, whether that's for youth or adult clients of ours, starting at your screening and your intake. It's really important, and we screen youth into services and not out. And so we want to make sure that our programs fit our youth and the population we're serving, and not making our youth fit our program. You know, you really want to make sure that we're low barrier, that we remove any sort of bias or discrimination from the get-go. And that starts at your screening process, and then your intake. And so looking at that accountability to be inclusive to all of the youth we serve. Our shelter serves up to 12 youth at any given time. And so we've had to get really creative to make sure that youth are feeling welcome. And so I'll give some examples of that as we get going today. The other program that I oversee in particular is our transitional living program. And so we serve older youth who, you know, Molly was talking a little bit with that instability in housing, and they've been asked to leave home, they've run away from home for whatever reason, they've faced housing barriers. And so 17, 18, 19-year-olds that need long-term housing so that they can graduate high school, they can, you know, obtain a job, but maintain it. It all starts with housing. And without that, you're going to see those disparities continue. And so transitional living, long-term housing for youth, especially that are more vulnerable and more at risk, especially, you know, youth that have been turned away from other places are our priority. And we want to make sure that those youth through our screening process are housed. The most at-risk youth need housing, and that's at the forefront of the services we have.
Christy, thank you. Good info there. Great work that's going on. I just want to just say that June is Pride Month, but come July 1st, the work still goes on. You know, we just have this month to highlight it, but this is an ongoing process. Housing disparities doesn't stop. Discrimination doesn't stop. And it's something that we need to be mindful of, not just in June, but throughout the year. So thank you both for the work that you're doing and will continue to do. I would encourage our viewers to check out your Facebook pages. I've been on them both. And to also check out the COC's Facebook page or our website to see the ongoing work that we're doing. Again, thank you both for making this really comfortable for me today. and sharing the information. It has been great.